What's up, world? It is the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur and Smith. We are back at it, you guys, once again with the latest and greatest COVID news. Thank you, Smith, for checking in. As you guys could see, for all of our YouTube watchers, we are still doing it on Zoom virtually. Everybody that listens where you get your podcast, thanks as always. And for you to be a normal show, because all you do is listen anyway. You're not interested in seeing these two handsome gents. And that's all right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I am a film and TV director, producer, and have always had a love for history, politics, race, everything in between. Smith here is a veteran of the Army Reserves who currently works for the VA with a passion for the same. Together, we are the HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith. We always say we're not about pro any race, even though we're both African American. We're not pro that. We're not pro white, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it. We're just pro truth. If the truth offends you, we're sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
And you know what, guys? One of the reasons why I say we're pro truth is because you'll never see us make a mistake like Nick Cannon did recently and call us the original Hebrew Israelites and original Jews, because we would have researched that first before we spewed something like that. Exactly. So that's why I just say we are pro-truth, because this is a public forum and we are everywhere where you get your podcast. We never want to put something out that isn't correct. And if we don't get it right, we will correct it on the next show, which we've done before, I think, with small stuff.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And it was small stuff.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, we're obviously not as famous as a Nick Cannon yet, but the same thing applies. And once our show becomes that famous, we will follow the same protocols as we do now. So yeah. Before we get into it, quick shameless plug for me. I have a TV show coming out called Donk, Master on Vice. Tune in August 19th. We want to get those views so Vice will buy season 2. So definitely check into that. If you're into cars and racing and good racing, fun and drama, it's going to be a great show to look at. And that's coming on Vice TV. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah, just wanted to plug that in real quick. So yeah, what's going on with you, Smith?
Just, working during the week, but if you want to jump it off, I like how you started by saying, that we do our research. We're not about fake news. And recently there's another video going around with some doctors supporting hydrochloroquine.
Yeah, I never could say that right either. Yeah.
With a combination of a couple other drugs, and it's supposed to be effective. The only thing I got to say is I just, did my own little research on doing NBC News. Mm-hmm. And they did talk about it, that there were some people in coats, white coats, doctor coats, and with America's frontline doctors stitched on. So you would, a lot of people automatically assume because they're in doctor coats and everything, and they're doctors, but that they're, truly real. But the one woman, and it's an African-American woman African, because I'm not sure if she's truly from America or not. But
I think she was African, right?
Yeah. And her statement is like, they start off with almost like, we don't need masks. There's no cure. She's a licensed pediatrician from Houston. But, and then she says that she effectively treated 350 COVID-19 patients, but she hasn't provided any data that, for it. So it's kind of, you got to be concerned about that. And just because someone gets in front of the camera and it's, like 10 doctors behind them, that's not the same as, the scientists or the doctors or the lab, people doing their research across the country. Now, I did read something that happened in Detroit, and there's a news article about, Detroit. I can't remember the exact name for it. But it's out there and people might have seen it. And they say it's fair, there is some benefits to it, but the patients that they're treating are over 64. And I think they have some pretty decent symptoms. Mm-hmm. So, but the percentages are still around the same. So like with hydrochloroquine, chloroquine, and something else, there's a 20% chance of fatality. And then with just the extra azithromycin or something like that,
right,
it's 22%. But then with nothing, it's 26%. So I don't know how helpful something is, but it's only a 6% difference.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's why I wanted to, big time state that when people are posting things, if you're reading stuff on social media, if it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, just take the time before you actually repost it to look up who these people are. Because the doctor who's speaking, the one African woman, she believes that vaccines are made from aliens.
Right.
And,
right.
And, and that's enough. I don't even think I need to even go on the demon theories. There's something else that she thinks that there's spirits involved, and demons, not just spirits, demons.
Right.
Demons.
Yeah. So if I could just shed my opinion on this topic before we move on, man, that was a funny one. I actually first heard of this because, my mother, she was on Facebook and it came across her Facebook stream, and one thing about the older generation, I always, tell my mother about is they believe everything they see and hear, and they call you as if it's real, actual news. So I was on my way to the gym, the other morning. It had to be a day or two ago when this first
this came out on Monday.
Surfaced, right? It was on Monday. And the first thing I said was, "Mom, did you see it on like a real news source?" "No, it was on Facebook." And she didn't say that she believed it, but she was presenting it to me and responding to it as if it was facts. And I was like, "Mom, trust me, if it's not on a reliable news source, like big news like that with something really working, trust me, it's going to be on a reliable news source." You know what I mean? I was like, to me, it just sounds like another clickbait. You know what I mean? So I took it at face value. And sure enough, I'm not sure if it was the same day or if it was yesterday, it was
probably
all
yesterday.
over the news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was all over the news, about this lady and the doctor. Then I started saying everything you saw. And all I could think is, and my mother was saying that she thinks maybe the Trump campaign paid her to say that. And I don't know if you caught Trump's briefing yesterday. He actually backed her up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but I also heard that they asked him the question about her, with demons and stuff.
And he walked away.
Yeah, and after saying how good of a doctor and believing her,
right,
he had to turn around real quickly and go, "Well, I don't know her that well," and then ended the briefing, I guess. So.
Right. Yeah. So of course he nitpicked what he thought he could use that would help him out, and presented it as like, "Yeah, I'm gonna co-sign this." Then other stuff, though, the same person he distanced himself from real quickly. Well, I believe that, but I don't know that well.
I don't know about this.
And what I have to say about this before we move on is that I really don't get what people get from spewing these untruths, man, and where they actually get any of this stuff from. I just don't understand it. I cram to understand.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you that in the same article that it talked about the doctor and stuff, one thing that it was mentioning is that you remember the video from the two doctors in Bakersfield and stuff like that, and other what's interesting to find out about this new one, this video was funded by the Tea Party Patriots.
Oh wow! Which one? The doctor video?
The America's Frontline, with the
I didn't know
the
that.
one from Monday. So it was broadcast. It was broadcast streamed on Breitbart's website, and then Tea Party. So there's people who are, I'm not sure if I'll say 100% they're Trump. I'm guessing they're Trump's type of supporters, but these things are being funded by campaign,
by organization that supports Trump. Even if he's not directly connected to it, right?
Correct. So it was very interesting to realize that's what was done, And, so again, people need to just take some time. First thing you need to check out is the person who's speaking and see what they're about and what's their history,
Right.
But to answer your statement, like, I don't get it either, but I do think people want to answer to a cure. Trump spouts his things, and some people want to really believe that he thinks that he knows what he's saying.
Right.
And I get it. No one else, like, people debunking this is not to make him look like an idiot, as people say. He does that on his own.
Right.
But it's more to just know what is actually truthful. If you got, just someone who's not medical, trying to tell you what to take, but then you've got doctors going, no, that's not the best, idea. Even though, let's say it does help some, it doesn't appear to help most and not all the time. So It's very, like the word that Dr. Fauci said, seems very antidotal. So.
Right. Yeah, man, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. And if we could stay on the same thing with COVID.
Yeah.
A thing I saw that said the FDA authorizes COVID-19 tests for people without symptoms. So it's the same test that's already out that's being used for people, to find COVID, but it's now been authorized that they could do studies on people who don't have it or who aren't showing symptoms.
That's good. It's about time.
I agree.
Yeah, because every time we try and get tested,
you can't.
We can't. Lisa just had a problem like that getting tested. Took her forever to find a place because she doesn't have any symptoms. So they're like reluctant to test you if you don't have symptoms, which is crazy to me, because if they say there's so many of a percentage of people that are asymptomatic, why not know who those people are?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I agree.
So,
and it should be like, if someone may not have symptoms, but they potentially were exposed, or like, again, if your workplace tells you to, or if you're just concerned because you, again, were around some people, you want to know, why shouldn't you be able to? Or let's say, why do you have to be quarantined if I can get the test to see if I'm, and then maybe I can take care of a sick parent, but you're supposed to quarantine, then I don't.
Right. Well, talking about testing, did you hear about the girl in LA? I'm not sure if it was in the city of LA, but let's say county of LA. Her dad tested positive.
Yeah.
She went and got tested, and the test was positive. And her and her dad isolated themselves so they could stay away from the rest of the family, since they were the only two that tested positive.
Yeah.
Then they looked at her results, and it wasn't even hers.
Oh wow.
Yes, and she was retested and was tested negative.
Negative. Oh, after being isolated with her dad.
Yeah, but just think, because of their mistake, she had contracted it from her dad. Yeah, it was a wrong date of birth, everything, and I guess they called the testing facility. Oh, it was a mistake. Like, can you believe that? It's like, guys, I know there's a lot of people getting tested, and I know
there's
people
a backlog
out there. I know there's a backlog, but you can't make mistakes like that.
No, you can't.
What if that would have been this girl's life? Like, she caught it from her dad.
Yeah.
And she had some conditions or whatever, and she ended up on the wrong side of this COVID, just from a simple mistake from someone at the lab, or feeling that. I was mind blown and I just heard that on the radio on my way here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
Like, because on the radio they asked people to call in with their COVID test stories.
Yeah.
And she was one of the ones that called, and I couldn't believe that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, wow, come on, man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay. So there's another thing I did just want to re-emphasize. I was reading on health that the face mask protects you in more than one ways.
Okay.
And the study found, and one way is, of course, that it reduces the spread of COVID, but it also, according to the study, that it lessens the severity of symptoms or keeps the virus away altogether. So because you're not getting big concentrate of it if you're not wearing a mask.
Right.
If you do contract it, it's usually less severity.
Right.
So
As far
that's
as wearing
actually
a mask, you mean?
Yeah, people who wear masks, and if they do tend to get it, it seems to be less severe.
Got you. That's interesting. Yeah, because I just saw something on CNN where they showed another one of the video illustrations with the whole black light showing how much, how much it contains when you have a mask. And they even showed, which I never saw before. So it was 4 screens. The first screen was no mask. And they had the person talking. I mean, droplets was going everywhere. Then the next screen was just the mask, and you saw a little bit. And then the next couple of screens were people who had layered their mask.
Gotcha.
Which I never do, I have to admit. And it was hardly anything coming out.
I do have
the people that was layering their mask.
Yeah.
They had even less stuff coming out. I mean, it was little or nothing. I was like, oh wow. Just so layering it. Yeah.
Yeah, my mask, I actually have the insert that you can put which makes it like the N95, whatever. But. Right.
Yeah. I mean, my mom, she's told me, put a paper towel in there and stuff like that. Whatever. But seeing the illustration of it, I was like, wow, it really does make a difference. Yeah. Just that little bit of difference, man.
Wow. Well, 2 layers is better than
2 layers is better than 1. And what you just spoke about is also very interesting to know. And I'm wondering if it's because less droplets are getting in, and that makes a difference as opposed to more coming in. Why it's less when you know what I'm saying?
It's saying the conclusion is that face cover. So it's not only is it that you're somehow, it's if you're around other people who have masks and someone actually has it and they're talking to you and they're like you said, if they're just one layer and stuff is still coming out, or let's say they're not and there's stuff still coming out, it's just less virus for you to get in you, and then when you do, your immune system has opportunity to fight off what little bit you have, so therefore that's why it's less of a severity.
Got it. Well, that's thanks for sharing that. That's that's an interesting tidbit to know. I didn't even.
I mean, it really goes with the idea of telling people, like, it's not, there's a lot of reasons to wear a mask. It's to reduce the spread, but if it also,
it also helps in a bunch of other ways.
Correct.
When you don't wear the mask.
Which
when you wear the mask,
when you wear a mask. And it makes sense why those, all those countries that went to making it mandatory, like we should in the United States,
right?
Their percentages started to drop. I mean, you make it mandatory, and you stop having, these bars and restaurants that are open and people are just, walking around, and talking and whatever without mask on.
Right. It's funny. They made a joke. It was on Trevor Noah. He made a joke. I think it was Trevor Noah. If it's not, forgive me. But he made a joke in how Hong Kong's, is it Korea or Hong Kong? Who had 300 cases? It was one of those.
Or was it Taiwan?
No, it was either Korea or Hong Kong. How they only had 300 cases. I think it was Hong Kong, but he talked about how their second wave of people that's getting it can fit in one school bus. Oh. So it's that minimal. You know what I'm saying? And our second wave is like thousands and hundreds of thousands, and like because remember, their first wave was only 69.
Yeah.
Now their second wave is 300, like around 300ish. That's insane. Because they're doing the right thing. And I got to say, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all bad news. I did see our mayor here in LA County and stuff like that in Southern Cali talking about how, the mayor of LA, talking about how it is working, like the mask, making everybody wear masks, and they starting to see the cases drop a little bit and even out. Thankfully, because if it wasn't for that, they were going to do a complete stay home shutdown again. And now that's off the table. So I'm definitely clapping for that. You know what I'm saying? Good job. So yeah, that's off the table. So that's good news. And yeah, so they're showing that it is actually working. having everyone wear the mask. And it's so funny. I met with Elise Green, Elise not Green, but I forget how to say her last name. She's one of the actors in a film I have coming up. I had a meeting with her last Sunday, and both of her parents are surgeons, and they both caught COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we were talking about Temecula and how here it's not mandatory to wear the mask outside, like in Old Town, but in LA it is. And I said, at least why is it that you have to wear it in LA? I mean, I don't get it. She said, no, they don't really explain to mine, but both of my parents are surgeons, and this thing is really airborne, which is why in LA they make you wear it outside too. She was like, me and you could be walking outside and having a conversation, and then 5 minutes later, someone can walk by and catch one of our droplets.
Huh.
She was like, yeah, they're not saying that. But my parents are surgeons, and trust me, it's airborne, which is why in LA, they make them wear masks, even outside, everywhere. And that's what they do in other countries. That's what they did in Trinidad, where I'm from, and they were able to mitigate it. They made everybody wear masks, no matter where you were, inside, outside, didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the way she was explaining the airborne thing to me, I was like, wow. Oh,
I did read an article almost a month ago that said that there's evidence to support that it's airborne.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they're not stating it like that. So
because I guess they don't want to scare, go into a complete scare frenzy. And
then you're gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but then you still got those who almost, not that they don't believe that there's COVID, they just don't believe that it's, they're still comparing it to the flu.
Right. Exactly.
Or a severe flu. Like, oh, it's bad, but not that bad.
Right, exactly. Which she was saying when her parents got it, and they both are older but very healthy. Her dad is fit. He's in his 60s but works out every day. You know what I mean? She was saying when they got it, it was basically like them having a flu. And they knew to take the baby aspirin to prevent any blood clots.
Oh.
So that's what they did. They took the aspirin, just, got rest, water.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're doctors. They didn't take hydrochloroquine?
No, they didn't. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one for sure. Yeah, they're doctors and they didn't take that. So she said, yeah, after a couple of weeks, they went right back to work. And, thankfully they knew the things to do to probably prevent any severe damage to any organs or anything. Moving forward. So yeah, that's basically the way she explained it to me. I was like, wow,
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, man. For those who don't know, I am from Florida, grew up in Miami, went to film school in Miami and everything. And I was tripping about the news in Florida, how, the lifeguards down there got COVID, and everybody talking about, oh, the beach is safe. And, but yeah, some Florida lifeguards did get COVID. A ton of our baseball players that play for the Marlins got COVID. First, it was a few, and now it's up to, I think, 13 or 15 of them have it now on one baseball team. So they had to shut that down. And then if we're staying on sports, I just was listening earlier at how, a lot of the basketball players are deciding to drop out of the rest of the season, whatever that they're doing.
I thought I read that or saw basketball players for 2 days straight, no one's gotten no new cases or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, with that said, some of those players are still like, I'm not even going to risk it. Yeah, I just saw it before we started the show today on the news. Yeah, a lot of those players are like, man, I'm just going to drop out for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? Just to be on the safe side. And I also want to touch on that. It isn't a note here on all these concerts that's been happening and get your opinion on that. The one in the Hamptons they had with the chain smokers, the other one they had in Chicago. It was supposed to be like a drive up, and the baby was the headliner, but people ended up getting out of their cars and going to the stage anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's
man. My city is crazy.
you know, and Cuomo, and yeah, that was in Chicago. And then the other one, yeah, that was in the Hamptons, the chain smokers thing. Then that other party they showed, where was that party of like 700 people or something?
Really?
I forget what city that was. No mask, everybody just chilling, vibing, hanging. You know what I mean?
I mean, I know so many people, we all want it to be done, but let's be real about it, you know? And
Right.
let's take the precautions. Yeah, that's crazy. No, it's not even, I wouldn't even be in my car listening to it. Or maybe I would. You know, that's a nice option, but I don't know if I'd be trying to go to a concert just.
Yeah, what's the point of going to a show and staying in your car?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Like,
which is why people was like, you know, it probably only took like a couple people to start running past, and everyone was like, oh shoot, I want to see and get fun.
Exactly. Craziness, man. I'm, you know, for me, I'm just sitting back watching what we do as humans, because we're a social people. So it's hard for us to stay away. And, you know what I mean? Even us in our little town, you know, we break rules too. I don't want to sit here and sound like we're all righteous. You know, we hang out at the wineries, you know, we meet groups and we hang, and, you know, we end up in Old Town at outdoor.
I've been to a couple bars where I should have been.
Right, yeah. You know, this weekend we went to Old Town, a pub and I mean, it was outside, but still, that doesn't mean we couldn't have. Could have easily gotten it.
Like the one woman said, if it's airborne, just take one person.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. So, you know, but again, I'm willing to admit, you know, it gets boring. I'm a social person too. I'm human like everybody else. Yeah. And, you know, as much as you don't want to dip into a place like pub and grub, you go, man, everybody's together and everybody had some wine, and you're like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? And the music is fun. You see all your friends in town. It's just, it's tough, man. So I can't sit here and down and blame all the people, even the group of people that went to the beach and had the big gathering and the baptisms and all that. They even talked about that. I forgot what city. It was either here or Florida for sure. I forget.
Oh, okay. Baptizing in the water?
They had the church service on the beach, and they were baptizing people. People were right next to each other, no mask or anything, and, you know. So according to the officials, they're like, in the signs, these are super spready events. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, you know. So let's see how it goes, man. You know, that's all I have for today. I wanted to talk about the Trumps and Goya, how they were endorsing Goya and advertising and on the
using the government to advertise.
Yes, it's so against the law.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, he could do, for whatever reason, he can get away with whatever he wants, but his daughter posing with the thing, and then him having all those
on his desk and all that.
Dude,
that's against the law. Any other president would have done that. It would have been a problem.
It would have been.
It would have been a huge problem. Any other president, man.
And it's still a problem, but there's no one who's willing, you know, even on basically because the Republicans have that Senate, they're just never going to do anything to punish him. He's always going to get away.
Right.
They're supposedly slap his hand, but, you know, I don't believe in all that.
Unbelievable.
So there's a couple more things I do have.
Okay, let's go.
So Minneapolis police, I read an article again with the New York Times that talked about, there's a link. You remember the video of the umbrella man, the guy in all black with the mask, and he's breaking the windows in the AutoZone?
Yeah.
So they've been doing some, they're trying to figure out who that person is. Mm-hmm. They have a suspect and everything, and they say that there's a link with that man to white supremacy group. So if, again, as I said, to be mentioning, there was a video, white man, he's wearing a mask, he's all black, he's got an umbrella. I want to say the umbrella's black too. Yeah. And he had the hammer. So he spray painted on the AutoZone, broke the windows. And I don't know if you know this, but that was like the start of the looting and rioting that happened.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So like 2 days after, you know, people started protesting, after about 2 days, that's when that happened. And after that, that's when like the police station got burned down and stuff like that. Well, I didn't realize or didn't know that the AutoZone was like almost like right across the street from it. So that guy really, so the idea is that this was an opportunity. Once they saw the protesting going on, it was an opportunity to almost do the whole, let's create the right way to spark off a right race war, you know?
Right. Interesting.
So, yeah, I do. And luckily, a lot of people paid attention to some things, looked at, because we've talked about it in different other episodes where people had seen bricks nicely stacked, just be ready to use the throw.
Right.
Or we've seen videos of people looting and they're not black,
Right.
Or, they're all different races, but obviously it's not the group that's protesting. And then other things that happen it's just very sketchy, obviously, that something was trying to be started out of this, out of the protesting. And I wanted to add that it's very interesting that Trump and then his Attorney General Barr are trying to label Antifa as a terrorist group.
Right.
But I could be wrong, but as far as I know, not one Antifa group has tried killing or has killed anyone.
Right.
Where we all know white supremacy groups have killed people.
Yep.
And it's amazing that Barr, Trump are trying, like I say, labeling them as a terrorist group and trying to make them something bigger than what they are. But when they're asked about white supremacy, they don't really have any answers or statements to make about it.
Right. Yeah. I've been watching Barr's hearing on Capitol Hill. Yeah. Interesting stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up was Trump recently was asked, and he's about Putin and the bounties. And he said that he had not spoken to Putin about the alleged Russian bounties on U.S. troops. And that if it was true, he would be upset, was his statement. Where it's like, well, why don't you ask and find out? I mean, obviously, Putin's not going to give him the truth.
Yeah, he's not going to be honest about that.
But the point would be he should confront him. And he should, instead, because it was not reported to him that this was going on, supposedly, he never knew until it was reported, then because they didn't bring it to him, obviously, he believes that it's not true. So instead of having someone do some investigation, which he'd rather investigate people like Hillary and stuff, and Biden and Biden's son, and which is not saving. And as a veterans should be upset with Trump and not wanting to address this issue. Because again, as you said, any other president having this, bounties on U.S. troops would be crucified or, just very, for not doing that. But he, again, somehow gets away with it. People still follow and supporting him, and he still has his 30-some%.
Yeah, it's crazy. But all the polls show him losing, man. I hope it stays like that.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
I hope it stays like that. And real quick before we go, I hear that Biden is picking his running mate first week of August.
Ooh, okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see who that pick is, if it's someone that we can get behind, and if it's someone that's going to bring this thing home and get Trump out of there.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping. You know what I mean?
And if I could just finish, just to reiterate, even though, we said, and it's true, the polls are showing Biden is up by a lot, double digits. People still have to know that they've got to go out and vote. And there's a lot of postings going out about mail-in voting and the dates you have to notify. So I think October is a lot of cutoffs. So anyone wanting to do that, I like living out here in California. When you go into the DMV, and you easily can register yourself for absentee or mail-in voting, which I always do.
Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that was a good one to end on, Smith. Yeah, let's definitely get in gear and, definitely get the mail-ins done. If you can walk in. But, the goal is to get Trump out of there, make him a one-term president. You know what I mean? One-term president. And real quick, since we're on Trump and we talked about COVID today, I was hearing some rumblings of once Trump is out of office, COVID is going to disappear, something like that. That's what folks are saying, that It's all tied to him. And once he's out of office, it's going to disappear. So it's going to go back to him. But we'll see how true or false that is.
I know. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. Let's see.
COVID all of a sudden disappears.
Right. I don't believe it either. Let's see if it was, if some kind of way they're trying to keep it or make it seem like it's present when he's in office, and the minute he's gone, it'll be gone. Let's see. That's what these conspiracy theorists are actually saying.
Well, here's a question before we leave. If a vaccine is developed before the election, do you think he wins?
No. I don't think it matters. Okay. I don't think it matters. And I think he's trying to have that happen, but I honestly don't think it matters. I think he is out of there anyway, especially if Biden chooses an African-American female running mate.
That would be the biggest one. Yeah. You're right.
We'll end it there. We'll definitely want to thank Smith for checking in with us. And don't forget to subscribe and, keep listening where you get your podcast. If you like us, shoot us a like. If you give us a thumbs up, definitely subscribe on IC&T Group Digital. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And if you have any questions, it's rptalktruth@gmail.com. And that's it, good folks. I will see you next Wednesday, right, Smith? And it's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith. I may be leaving town Sunday, but if I do, I'm taking my laptop so we can, record while I'm in Louisiana. May go back for some more production meetings and stuff on this film. So if that's the case, I'll be, doing the podcast from there next week, and we'll bring it back to you guys who tune in and listen to us. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.